Hello everyone. In this particular session, I will be discussing about hooks in React.js and when to use hooked and what is the rules that we need to follow for declaration of hooks or using of hooks. And the last one will be I'll be discussing one example to get a idea about the hooks that we can use and how we can implement this in our React.js application. So React hooks are some new features that is introduced in the React 16.8 version, and it allows you to use the state and the other React features without writing a class. And hooks are the functions which hook into React state and lifecycle features from the functional components, and it does not work inside the class components, and we cannot use the hooks inside the class components that we have seen in the previous sessions. And for class components, we have that directly we can use the constructor, and inside that we can use the state function for assigning some initial value to the variables, and also we can use the set state functions for changing or updating the variable. And hooks are backward compatible, and which means it does not contain any breaking changes, and also it does not replace your knowledge of React concepts. So when to use a hooks? If you write a function component, then you want to add some state to it, but previously you do this by converting your functional component into class component. But now you can use hooks inside your existing functional component to define some state variables and change those variables based on the button click or something like that. So rules of hooks. So for defining or for declaring hooks in functional components, we need to follow some kind of rules. So hooks are similar to JavaScript functions, but you need to follow some rules for using them. And hooks rule ensures that all the stateful logic in a component is visible and in its source code. And these rules are like only the first one is like only call hooks at the top level. Do not call hooks inside loops, conditions, or nested functions, and hooks should always be used at the top level of the React functions. This rule ensures that the hooks are called in the same order each time a component renders. Because from this rule we can say like we cannot define hooks inside the loops or conditions or something like inside nested functions and all, because whenever a functional component renders, the hooks must be executed only once. That's the thing actually. So this rule ensures that the hooks are called in the same order each time a component renders. The order should not vary. Every time the renders occur, the order should not vary. For this purpose, we need to follow this particular rule that only call hooks at the top level. And the second one is only call hooks from the React functions. Don't call hooks from other functions. So you cannot call hooks from regular JavaScript functions. Instead of, you can call hooks from React functions components. So hooks can also be called from the custom hooks. So that's the second rule. Here it's saying like we cannot call hooks from the regular JavaScript functions. Instead, we can call hooks from React functions component. Next comes hook state. So hook state is the new way of declaring a state in React app, and hooks uses the useState functional components for setting and retrieving the state. So let's look at the example for getting a brief idea about this one. So in this example, if you see, first I import the React and useState from React. So you need to use this useState functions for for declaring hooks in functional components. So here I have defined a function count app, and inside this function I am declaring a new state variable which will call as count. So we are declaring the count state variable, and if we see the the syntax here, first we have to give the name of the variable that we are declaring, and next the set count function, and equal to use state, and we are passing parameter as 0. So the value that we are passing to the useState function will be the initial value of the count variable. That means the state variable. So initially the count will be assigned as 0, and whenever we need to update this count variable, what we need to do is we just need to call the set count function here. So if we see in the example in the return sections, we can see like once the button is on clicked, we can set the variable as set count. We are calling the set count function, and counting where we are passing is count plus 1, that is incrementing the value of the count. So the numbers of time you are clicking on that click me button, the value of the count will get incremented. So if we see the output here, we can see here you clicked 4 times. So the more times you are clicking on the click me button, it will be reflected on the UI part, I mean the output section. So it will get updated. The times you are clicking, the value will get updated. So in this example, use state is hooks which needs to call inside a function component and to add some local state to it, and the use state returns a pair where the first element is the current state, as I have already said, current state or the initial value, and the second is the function which we need to use for updating that particular state variable. So that's all about this hooks in React state. So here we have seen how we can able to use hooks inside our functional components, and why we cannot able to use hooks inside our class components, and when we need to use hooks for setting our state variables and all these things we have seen this particular session. So thank you for watching the video. Please like, share and subscribe to my channel, and stay tuned with Let's Learn with TV for more upcoming videos about data science, machine learning, Android application development and full stack web development. Thank you guys. Thank you.